Тын-тын. О, эфир киберспорта. Так. Что там показывают? Давай глянем. А, он на Twitch. Ну давай, похуй. Сейчас я
PUBG Continental Series for APAC. It is PCS2. My name is Enox. Joining me, of course, is the lovely Alfish guy. And looks like we found the sound button as well, Jordan. So everything's A-OK. We can get into game very shortly here as we kickstart the second Continental Series for APAC.
It's unbelievable, Xenox. I don't know why you did that to everyone. That was a really, really awful thing to do. Everyone was just here having a good time, listening to music, and you decided you wanted to turn it off for some reason. So, look, you know, I'm looking forward to getting into PCS2, as I'm sure you are as well. And, you know, I don't think we're too far away from the game, Xenox. So, well, better jump straight into all of the discussions surrounding this season. Everyone that's been involved in PUBG and been watching PUBG this year should probably have a pretty good understanding of what we're going to be getting from PCS2. Very, very similar to PCS1. A few minor changes, a couple of teams coming in, a couple of teams coming out, but by and large it's the same format.
Это наши должны играть.
4 games a day at this time instead of 5 games a day, and the season does last a little bit longer, but it's more or less the same concept.
Все на китайском пишут.
6 regions this time as well, since Malaysia has entered the fray through Battle Arena Elites. Also, most notably on the calendar, it is now over the course of 3 weeks. Will still, though, be, of course, the same amount of games played, 24, as it was for PCS1. But Jordan, obviously, quick maths, that means we're indeed going to Erangel. Of course, the prize pool
2 миллиона призовой фонд, блядь, баксов. И идет 12,5% чего-то еще.
Yeah, and that's always good to see.
Блядь,
that
пиздец.
obviously for the last couple of seasons as well. So a bit of extra cash in the back pocket of the players. Definitely something that goes a long way, particularly in regions like ours, Xenox, where the infrastructure isn't maybe as strong as it is for the likes of North America and for Europe, you know, where the teams may be salaried or they may have a little bit more money sort of flying in towards their direction. So
Короче,
things, you know, like the ANZ region, it definitely helps quite a lot.
Я знаю, как мы все сделаем.
Without a doubt, here is, of course, the map information, sort of just reconfirming visually, as I mentioned before, 2 games of Miramar, followed then by 2 games of Erangel for this weekend, and then next weekend it kind of flips, and then, of course, then on the final weekend flips back. And, of course, the same point system as always, and across all the other regions as well, Jordan. No surprise there for those who, of course, have been following along with the PCS format throughout 2020 so far, which is hopefully many of you. If you are new, though, to watching PUBG esports, get ready. It's going to be exciting. 24 games, Jordan, of course. It's not a lot, but it's just that right amount, right in the middle, where you will be getting a well and truly deserved winner.
A little bit more than last season as well, if I remember correctly. We only had the 20 games, so that's a bit of an added bonus as well, Xenox. But what I do like at least about this season in comparison to previous season is we're no longer going to have that weird conversation about, oh, X or
Короче,
Y
еще скоро катку будут играть.
better on Miramar, and we have to wait until next week to see them play 3 maps of Miramar per day to catch up. It's going to be 50-50 split from day 1, so we'll get a good understanding of who is sitting where. In the long term, either way, Xenox, we're jumping into game 1, and today we're kicking things off for PCS2 APAC on Miramar.
It's an odd one to be kickstarting things off on Miramar. I'm certainly not used to it. Usually, of course, we start on the traditional Erangel. That's not going to be the case here tonight. So Miramar we go. As we start us off for PCS2 APAC, a relatively normal circle as well, just above Los Leones, La Bendita, inside of that as well.
Приколы у меня.
Of course, the plane path having a very large impact on where these players have landed so far. More on the western side of the map, not a whole lot out east, especially up to the northeast, for instance, around La Bendita, Al Azhar, for instance. Archangel Predator have returned, and of course,
Первый день
throughout
это вообще...
tonight, I think definitely for night one, Jordan, it will be sort of like a catch-up with a lot of these teams and where they've been, and did they play PCS1? Was it Charity Showdown was the last time, or potentially is it their first PCS, like this team in particular, X Stadium?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, there's quite a few teams that we haven't actually seen before in PCS. In fact, we've got 8 teams that didn't play in PCS1 at all, 6 teams that have never played in PCS. And 8 teams returning from PCS1. So there's quite a few sort of teams that are coming through that we might recognize from things like Charity Showdown and from previous season, but there's a lot of entirely new teams here as well. One thing that I did want to mention, obviously we haven't had much of a chance for a pre-show here, but I thought it was quite interesting. I was taking a look back at the results from obviously Season 1 and Charity Showdown, and what I noticed was the teams that played in both Charity Showdown and PCS1, by and large, almost everyone, except for Divine Esports, was able to improve on their results. And so I'm looking for those kinds of teams that have been in PCS since Charity Showdown to continue to improve their result, particularly now Xenox, because teams like Pubgm are not here. They came first in Season 1. Golden Cat is also not here. They came third. So there's a lot of points on the board available up towards the top end of the standings that may go over
жалко то,
to
что на английском они
someone like,
пиздят.
for example, Fury, who finished 4th last season. They'll be looking for a strong finish. Bururam, 2nd place from last season, 3rd place from Charity Showdown. So, to be honest, coming into this, a team like Bururam is definitely licking their lips. Yeah, 100% agree with that. Typically, the theme, especially going into PCS seasons, has always been about the winners defending their crown, and that hasn't been the case in APAC at all throughout 2020. In saying that, though, Division X Gaming have returned. They finished first in the PCS Charity Showdown. They missed out on PCS1 altogether. Now they've returned to PCS2 from Vietnam, so they're a team to keep an eye out on as well to see whether or not
У вас лагает, чуваки, все.
regain their crown, for instance, rather than, of course, having to defend it, which, well, they technically weren't able to do since they finished 11th in the Vietnam series.
16 команд, 64 челика.
It's now, of course, at this point of the year where you've got such a good mixture of teams coming in for their first time, their second, or some that, as you've said, have now participated in all 3 PCS tournaments. So 15 seconds away from the blue moving on as we kickstart game number 1. What do you want to see, Jordan, though, really, sort of just from tonight as a beginning? Is it certain teams, the likes of Buriram, Cerberus, Division X, these top teams, MSC Theraton as well, getting off to a good start?
To be honest, I'd like to see some of the teams that we actually haven't seen too much from getting off to that good start, because that's going to give us a better indication as to maybe what we're expecting to see from them over the course of the next few weeks, how they play, how they rotate, what they like to do. Just gives them a little bit more of that limelight.
Охуенные переходы из экрана в экран, блядь.
Cerberus, Divine, all these teams that have been here since Charity Showdown, we kind of already know what we're going to get, or at least we have an expectation of what we're going to get. So I kind of want to see a little bit more from the likes of From the Future, Bay, and these kinds of teams that haven't actually played in PCS before. So I'd like to see them having a deeper run here in the first couple of rounds of Miramar. I know it's maybe a little bit biased to sort of throw a name out there, but I'm specifically looking at Bay, to be honest, as one of the teams that I'm quite interested in, because obviously they didn't qualify through last season. Looking to see them come in here. This will be their first season in PCS, and hopefully they're going to have a good performance.
And Bay is one of those sort of odd teams that, in
У них уже рука раздрочена вся.
2 regions, of course, they've got 2 Australian players, Nefahor and Flood, along with the 2 Malaysian players as well. So you've got this really weird predicament where, of course, for those who are unaware, of course, the Oceania qualifiers went from 3 to 2 slots, but of course, with Battle Arena Elites moving from OCA over to Malaysia, they come in anyway. So in one way, you can look at it as still potentially having 3 OCA teams. Guys, as Juna, they're in for their first trip into PCS. They did get shot at by Poochills of Daytrade Gaming, one of the more regular combatants here for PUBG Continental Series APAC throughout 2020 has been Daytrade Gaming. Looking at the circle, though, that we can see,
садись тачку езжай, давай.
currently, of course, no teams are going to want to go inside of that, so it's all about
Пизды
the
навешивают.
around the city of Los Leones. There are a lot of really highly elevated mountain ranges. You can actually see Archangel Predator, the Philippines team, in a really good position up to the north. I think Fury are also in a good spot too, just towards the southeast of Los Leones, and Buriram aren't that far away either from having a relatively centralized position that has some exit abilities as well, provided, of course, if the circle goes north, then they can go along the eastern coast, and it's going to be pretty quiet. There's only 1 team over there.
I think think we're probably just in the eye of the storm, which I guess is not necessarily a correct statement, because normally there would be a bit of chaos before the eye of the storm and then we slow things down, but I think you get my meaning here, Xenox. Things are probably going to be a little bit slow in these first couple of rounds of Miramar when, this is something we always talk about at the start of every PCS season, when we get a bit of an idea early on in the piece how the meta is going to shape up, how the teams are going to sort of start to rotate around. It tends to be a case where teams are maybe a little bit more passive early on in the piece until they figure everything out. And then once they're a little bit more comfortable, we'll start to see more of those early game aggressions. For now, keeping our eyes on Fury Australia, the team obviously from Down Under, that is going to be quite split up at the moment. They're covering a lot of territories enough, so they're really looking to control quite a large number of quadrants, I suppose, in the southern part of the map. And they are a team that is going to be looking for some points out of Miramar. From PCS 1, they were performing a lot better on Miramar than they did on Erangel. At the end of the season, they had 66% of their points actually coming from Miramar. So that's quite a significant portion of your points. And obviously for them, it's, I guess, nice to start off on Miramar. You know, start on your comfort territory and, you know, sort of work your way into the season without too many struggles.
Just going back to sort of one of the earlier points you brought up in terms of slow start, which this is very much a slow start right now, but the other factor of that is we only play 4 games per night now, so it's not like you've got 5 or 6 games, which, you know, various other tournaments will have in PUBG, where of course you can then kind of use that first or even second game for that matter to sort of warm up. In this case, there is no warming up. Zoidmate's picture is just, well, that's always going to give you nightmares if you stare at that one. If that stares back at you in the middle of the night, then definitely duck under the covers. But slow start, but not a surprise. Especially as I mentioned, 4 games. You can't use any of these games as you want, get matches. You've got to start from the get-go. Buriram United Esports, certainly one of my favorites and for contending here for PCS2.
Пошла катушка.
APAC. Can they put it all together though? They haven't been able to do so in the past.
Ебать, они без прицелов стреляют, им вообще похуй.
Shift towards Los Leones. Great for day trade gaming. Fury, Kaiser as well. Divine Esports can sort of wrap around too. As we focus on Ghoul here from Cerberus Esports. This is a pretty big battle actually between 2 very top-ended teams.
Yeah.
Cerberus are another team that's definitely going to be contending for top spot. If you recall in PCS 1, they were contending all the way to the end. Unfortunately, Haisaki had to miss a couple of games in the last weekend, maybe even the last 2 weekends. Unfortunately, due to personal reasons, and really that was the biggest benefactor for them not being able to challenge towards the end.
Yeah, it was certainly a sore point, but Cerberus obviously have managed to get back here into PCS 2, and they'll have a good shot once again of
Не
their name
спасибо.
up in lights. We're not too interested in this engagement at all, and I'd say that's probably a wise decision given that they know their location.
Ну, правильно сделали, что
They
съебались
know that they're
оттуда.
gonna have to move
Они бы
south.
даже их не
Los
забрали бы.
Leones is taking up a
Те нормально
large
вообще плотненько
portion of the
сидели.
northern part of the circle here, Xenox. So as you can see on the minimap, on the map stream as well, there's a lot of teams that are starting to rotate
бля,
their way
погоня
down. They're
нахуй.
kind of banking on this circle shifting south in the next phase, which is definitely not a bad decision at all. Quite likely to move away from Los Leones. What that's going to do though, Xenox, is we're going to be seeing quite a congestion of teams as they all start to rotate through. Buriram is kind of leading the pack at the moment, but there's probably 4, 5, or maybe even 6 teams around them coming out of Los Leones, coming down from the northern part of the map, past Impala. And for the moment, you know, there's not that much of an engagement, but I think sooner or later we're going to get something pretty chaotic.
Well, this is sort of the opposite effect, unfortunately, for Buriram United. If that circle had gone north, all of those teams rotating down this eastern highway would have stayed in that northern position. Buriram would have then been able to come up the eastern highway up north safely because there wasn't really any teams below them. But because we get this southern shift, those teams up north, of course, are going to come down. They're going to be coming down in a similar direction to Buriram. Although, in saying that, they can now, of course, find some kills. And typically, if you're going to find kills and get a win, you can already put yourself at a huge advantage going into the rest of the night. So a big opportunity for a team like Buriram and just really any of those teams around that area. You got Astra, you got MSC Terraton as well. A lot of teams with some firepower here. Lynxy landing a few shots onto MSC. They'll be able to get away though in the pickup truck. We've now gone 11.5 minutes though. I'm just going to add, we still haven't even found a knockdown, Jordan, let alone a kill. But
Well,
we should find it here.
potentially that grenade might actually do it. Basil, it's gone a little bit too deep. Actually lands next to the truck. MSC will be fine for now. Big spray onto Nordra, who's flipped his vehicle. He'll be in trouble. Subang, definitely someone that you don't want to let get these second chances. Grenade goes flying. That's going to go a little awry. Nordra's fine for now. Takes the aggressive challenge, but Ram really need to help him out if he's going to get out of here. Because he's one of their best players. If you remember last season, Xenox, the clutches that he pulled off for the team.
О, они грязно. Они сразу добивают. Тоже.
Is this sort of the storyline that we're going to get here for PCS2? Cerberus Esports are coming in as one of the favorites. A heavy one too. And if they can play at their absolute best, led by their star man in Heisaki, there's no reason why they can't pick up the win. As we continue to head over to Lost Leonas, Jordan, this is going to continue to increase this congestion of teams, so much so that at this point now there are going to have to be a few teams that actually go into Lost Leonas, whether they like it or not, considering it's on the very northern tip of this circle and it's not really centralized. Phase 4 should theoretically move away from the city as well, so I don't know, the team up north, GH, Game Home, are probably going to have to go into the city. Bay are severely outside to the west. I'm not sure really what their plan is either, because the way they're rotating is not into the city, but sort of rotating into Divine. So expect potentially Battle Arena Elites to get into a fight sooner rather than later.
I want to go back and touch on one of the comments you made a little bit earlier, Xenox, about starting the season well. And I don't think I necessarily need to remind you, but maybe for some of the viewers who didn't watch CS1 for the APAC region, it was Q-Confirmed that started with 2 wins, an 8-kill win and a 13-kill win. And that kind of set their season up, really. It felt like they were just leading from the front and everyone else was trying to play catch-up. And for Q-Confirmed, after week 1, the objective wasn't even necessarily to win games anymore or to get big games on the board. It was just to have decent games. And if a team like Cerberus, for example, the one that's only gotten themselves a point on the board, can actually start off similar to that tonight, then I think we could actually start to see someone else running away. Obviously, Q-Confirm is not in the picture at the moment anymore, so it's an opportunity for other teams to do just the same as what Q-Confirm was able to do. Having lost Basil, though, might not be the ideal start for Cerberus, even if they have got themselves 1 point on the board. Basil quite low here. I'm not sure that he's going to be getting picked back on up. Where he is. Yeah, he's definitely out of that one. So unfortunate for Cerberus. After a decent start, they do now lose a player.
Good start though for X Stadium, coming in from the Vietnam series. The only player who actually from their roster played in PCS1 was Noctan. He played on pubg Esports, in fact. So at least a bit of experience there in terms of PCS on their roster. Not sure how much he's going to be able to really aid them as a solo player, but obviously they're here for a reason based on their performance in the Vietnam series. Biraram still just holding close by. Edie, Godmeow, and Kadaxi, of course, without Nordra now. Quiet start continues.
Всего 62 человека.
Did in fact head into Lost Leonas. They weren't the only ones. MSC Theraton along with Archangel Predator.
Хотя бы страны подписывали бы, понятно было бы.
Although they're on the edge more so than anything here for Lost Leonas. This should very well go south, but we've only had 2 deaths, Jordan. 15 and a half minutes gone, heading into phase 4 now. As it does go to the south end of the previous circle, you can see how many teams are not inside of this circle. I would just about not be surprised if any of them can actually make it into this kind of phase 4 circle. This is going to heat up so much slow that we're just simply not going to be able to catch everything because of how slow the opening start was.
Indeed, and that's how it always is when you start off a new season here in PCS. It's always a couple of slow games from the outset, and as a result of that, sooner or later, you are going to get that chaos, and that's probably what we will get out of this rotation. Game Home, MSC Theraton, Archangel Predator, all coming in from Lost Leonas. We're keeping an eye right now on Fury, who will probably be pretty happy with the position that they've got, because it's not really just one position. It's quite a large swath of this hill. Mikey Kamukau quite south compared to the rest of his team, but just being a bit more of a scout than anything else, making sure that no one can come up from that southern part, which is exactly where VTR and Bay are going to run into each other if Victim Rise elects to keep themselves sticking around.
It's a big opportunity here for Fury, and not just themselves, but Ram are probably on the other side of the circle in a very similar situation, holding a large portion of the zone, and of course teams coming in from the
Плохо
blue.
добиваю.
From the future though, there is a knockdown unfortunately for Fury. I believe it is Jukesy who is down at the moment.
Ronan, I think it is.
Ronan, okay, well, nameplates stacking up on each other from that distance, it makes it difficult, but I'm glad your eyes are better than mine, that's okay, that's why you're here. Divine Esports though, pushing into the warehouse behind from the future. Defiant's got to be careful as the smoke equipped just wants to block off one side of the warehouse, so they're running out of the fields. It's not what you really want to see from Tede and Nando. They're just going to get dropped down by Jay and Diane.
Yeah, Defiant is going to have a bit of work to do here because Divine are going to start to push in. Turtle cooks himself a grenade. That doesn't look like it's going to be quite on point just yet, but Levi's with this one might actually not be too bad. We'll see where that lands. Right on top of Teddy. No, it's gone a little bit too far. Big spray though from Levi's, and Defiant does fight hard. He's got at least a point now.
Просто другие чуваки уже
приехали. Last one that's surviving, and it's not going to last for too long at all, is it, Denox? Divine are the first team to get an elimination. It's from the future, out in 16th place with only 1 point on the board in game number 1.
Really well played from Divine Esports, coming in from an out position, having to breach that warehouse, played it superbly, didn't watch the situation, waiting for the knocks, they got them, they caught from the future, really napping there. 38 seconds till phase 5, and we haven't probably got the sort of bloodthirsty phase that we were anticipating. Teams have been able to sort of creep in, a couple of them though still up north. Archangel Predator, if we don't catch the action, I'm sure the kill feed will, and that should very well say Archangel Predator killing Game Home very, very soon from what I can see on the map, and now what we can actually see on your screens, because not only are they in the blue, Jordan, but look at the elevation that Archangel Predator have here against Game Home. There is just no way out from that situation, surely. And Ram may be able to do the same thing as well against Magic Esports.
Yeah, Magic Esports, though, have a bit of a sight line onto X Stadium. Not too prepared to fire those shots. We do see the circle shift coming in, and look, to be fair, this one was most likely going to go central, so all these teams won't be too surprised. Everyone has at least as fair of a chance of getting back into that one as they really can. Vision X Gaming quite happy. Seems like their campaign here is starting pretty nicely in PCS2. Obviously the winners of Charity Showdown here for the APAC region. Something else will fall to the blue. Archangel Predator kind of bullying Game Home a little bit here. Guess there's not really too much Game Home can do about it, apart from try and heal themselves up in the blue, but it's ticking quite a lot at the moment, isn't it? And Sylphie really only has seconds left to live, I'd say.
JK
в угол загнал просто. Все. Нокнул и пошел. Ну, сейчас заново добьет. Ну, сам добил. Жестко.
Esports is finally eliminated. Now the push from MSC Theraton across the road throws out the smokes. Not only do they have to deal with the immediate threat, which is Daytrade Gaming, who are down to 3 players though, but also, as you can see, Archangel Predator do have that Overwatch vantage point. They're going to have to leave that position though due to the blue. So for now, MSC Theraton should be safe. Now in a 4 vs 3 against Daytrade Gaming, using their utility well, have now put themselves in a position to well and truly come out ahead here. They've got the numbers advantage, win this fight, then you can push into the next circle. So MSC have played this well for now, but of course you don't want to slip up. You make even one mistake. If you're 15% off your game here, Daytrade will punish you.
Absolutely, and not only that, Zenox, but they've got time against them as well. Blue is starting to push in, so MSC maybe wisely are going to be backing away from this fight. On the other side of the map are in an engagement with Ram. God Meow is able to finish off Nikus, get the knock on his Zoidmate, but he won't survive for long enough to keep himself in the game, obviously.
А нет, еще он есть у них.
Two, but they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, aren't they? Magic have got one side, Astra have got the other, and Ram are in all sorts of problems here in game 1 of PCS2.
This is a nightmare for Ram United Esports. They looked like they had covered at this portion of the circle, and unfortunately though, they have been pinched in from both sides. It is now going to be smoked out from that building, and if he stays on the back side of this building, he may be also visible to Magic Esports. Although maybe a reprieve for ED is that Magic Esports might get pushed on by X Stadium very, very soon, as Astra are down a player. They did lose Nikus, but should be able to find their second kill here onto ED. Zoidmate with a nade will get the knockdown. Birurama only down to Canaxi left.
Все, гранаты просто забили нахуй.
Surrounded by 4 players of Magic Esports. He's not going to be able to get.
Ай, и в пизду понял. Вот это киберспорт, блядь. Ой, киберспорт. Турнир по пабг делать. Сейчас в пабг буду играть. Continental Series 2 идет. То, конечно, непонятно, что пиздят. Бля, охуенно у меня экран троит. Пиздец, качай пабг тоже, давай погнали в пабг. Поиграем хоть что-то. Я уже на светлой стороне пабга. Качай пабг, поиграем в него. Так там же лучше намного стало играть. Не, Apex не мое. Пабг намного лучше. Там повеселее в пабге. Ой, бедный сейчас умрет. На нахуй. На нахуй, все, понятно. Киберспортсмены ебучие. Сейчас смотри. Да не скучно там, блядь, ты заебал. Я тебе сколько раз говорил, то, что там все сейчас поменяли, все заебись сделали. Сейчас смотри. Сейчас я досмотрю карточку и пойду. Да хуй на них. Заебали, короче, пиздеть. Так. Смотри. В смысле 3 АК в бане уже? 3 АК в Апексе в бане? Сейчас ты как с мужиками буду ебашить. Так это, блядь, каких аккаунтов-то? Апекса или пабга? Понять не могу. А, вон чё. А ты чё? Ты чё, купил на него читы, что ли, в Апексе? Ебать на товару. Пиздец. Ору над тобой. Сейчас родной пролагается. А, нет, это пин скачет. Сколько стоит читы на Apex? Здорово, пацаны.
Салам алейкум.
Чё, как прыгать будем? Сколько стоят они? На Apex 4. Два косаря на месяц? Да ну нахуй.
Ну, да, сюда музыку.
Да ну нахуй, пиздец. О, мы чё, втроем? Пиздец, два косаря просто. И то, блядь, улетел. Я хуею. Давай погнали в паб. Качай его, блядь. Хули твой Апекс. Одни баны дают. А в этом обычном, ну, в пабге хоть может читы подрубить. С читами поиграй. Короче, команда долбоебов. Это просто вас наебывают насчет читов, блядь. Вот и все. Ну это... Да нет, такого не может быть. Короче, тебя с читами также наебали. Короче, Apex наебывает. Сам же читы продает, сам же и в бан всех отправляет. А в PUBG такого, считай, нету. Смотри, какое преимущество. Ты, считай, бежал бы со мной и в бан бы не улетел бы. Можно хоть сколько читы подрубать. Да, мы вдвоем. Смотри, сейчас изи катка будет первое место. Кстати, тут маленько облегчили в реальном PUBG. О, Вектор. Сделали, короче, как это. Как в лайте, типа, там сейчас оружие. Ну, подбираешь, короче, оно у тебя сразу цепляется сюда. Вот эти вот что сделали, удобненько. Может, это вот срок. Ну, не, ну, короче, сейчас вот так вот сделали, да. О, пулемет. Сейчас меньше их стало. Сейчас вообще их практически нет. Потому что никто в PUBG не стал играть. Вот. Читеры ушли. А че им ботов-то расстреливать? В итоге эти типчики ушли. И пришли обратно нормальные челики, которые без читов играют. Вот и все. Это говно надо выкинуть, мешается. Ёбик по кому-то что ли стреляет. О, видишь, она сразу вставилась сюда. Ну, только не на ту пушку. Так, а что с домами-то? Это было? А, у нас ёбик один умер. Ну нахуй он вообще куда-то полетел. О. Блядь, у меня патронов-то столько нету.
Да на чё, какой ужас, скажешь.
Чё говоришь?
А дальняк, говорю, какое-то оружие было, скажешь.
Тачку надо найти. В Apex тем более мало кто играет. Вообще народу никого нету. Да и не знаменитая игра. Если бы не PUBG, Apex бы не было. Вот тачка. Да я ему сейчас метку поставлю, то что все побежал. А то он тупой, блядь, не поймет. Да нету сейчас тут ботов, блядь, ты заебал. Нету. Всех нахуй убрали подчистую. Тут нету ботов сейчас, блядь. Блядь, зайди в катку-то сыграй, так ты увидишь, сам этого поймешь. Нету там ботов, блядь. Причем вообще, я не знаю, где твоя вообще логика-то? Если ты играл раньше, блядь, в мобайл, сначала мы с тобой играли в мобайл, там ботов было дохуя, ты похуй играл. Когда ты играл в лайт, потом появились боты в лайте, ты все равно дальше продолжал играть. Где вообще, блядь, логика, нахуй? О, X4. На вектор X4 заебись, думаешь? Где тут ушли пан? О. Все, сейчас перезаряжаю. Пулемет вообще мощь, блядь. Еще эту хуйню нашел. Все вообще. Вектор пошел нахуй. Пулемет вообще огонь, блядь. Такая пушка. Ты просто ложишься, блядь, с этим пуликом. Все, достаточно, думаю.
X3 сзади туалета лежит.
Вот. Вот так вот, смотри. Ложишься. Где, достань его. Блядь, да пулемет достань. Видишь, у него там сошки, короче. Видишь, сошки, да, у него есть. Когда он ложится, эти сошки раскладываются, и у него отдачи вообще не... О, видишь, разложились сошки. У него отдачи вообще никакой нету. Просто можешь так вот просто хуярить и все. О, мне вообще зашел в последнее время пулемет. Надо тачку найти.
Ночь стоит.
О. А ты уебан, блядь, меня подождал бы, блядь. А сейчас его, короче, добавили сюда, в обычные карты, короче. А в аирдропах добавили другой пулемет. Там какой-то вообще пиздатый, вообще ебать. Там пулемет, короче, такой с режимами. Называется он какой-то русский какой-то пулемет, не знаю, как он, не помню, называется. Но у него, короче, два режима, типа стрельба до... Вот так вот сделаем. Стрельба до 660 ударов. Ой, блядь, выстрелов за минуту. Вот, и за 990 там, типа. Короче, вообще пушка, блядь, там такой пулемет. Он тоже, ты ложишься, и у тебя сошки раскладываются, и никакой отдачи вообще нету. Но сейчас я тебе продемонстрирую. Продемонстрирую его в деле. Какой он мощный, блядь. Блядь, мне уже цеплять не надо, патроны только искать. Хули тут. Нужно обратно. Где? Где кто?
Не, так.
Бля, пугаешь меня.
На, возьми, что нужно.
А, так мне... А, души все. Сейчас магазин увеличенный. Че, будем ждать мост или что? Так-то вроде туда никто не приземлялся.
Да, сейчас, подождем чуть-чуть.
Давай ты по кому стреляешь? Мудила. Я вот так вот потом лягу. Тачка П, читай. И все, и пизда тачки нахуй. Вот так вот даже сделать. Все, у меня сошки разложились и вообще мощно. Пушка стала. 0 отдачи. Опа. А мне не показалось? Поехали. Все, блядь. Немецкий пулеметчик. Блядь, ты сдох тоже хуй. Я тебе потом покажу, ну, выйду, когда, ну, из этого игры. В меню покажу там, что в обновлениях добавили, какой пулемет. Типа, гранату-обманку добавили, пиздатую. Но она только на... Как эта карта? Викенде вроде называется. А нет. Санок. На саноке оно такое. Здесь полностью зеленое. Ну и санок всю карту обновили вообще.
Метку ставь.
Бля, чуть в камушек не врезались. Залупа, по-моему. На подлутаться, у меня буста нету вообще никакого. Притормози.
Ща подлетаемся.
Ой, блядь. Заебись, приехали. О! Тачка,
Едут.
кто-то едет. Проехали. Блять, я всю с этой каской бегаю ебучий. Блять, бустов-то нет. Есть бусты?
Забери вон там быстро.
Блядь, да что ты?
Здесь еще один. На, здесь едут. Глушак под себя сбросил.
Да нахуй мне твой глушак заебал. А ты чё гранатки не берешь? А чё я гранатки не беру? Я же пулемет.
Рукоятка.
X2. Глушитель. Не, нахуй, я сейчас гранаты буду набирать и патроны чисто. Чтобы у меня в перестрелке в моей супер адской хватило, блядь, на все. Куда повыше залезу? Ну и где вы, суки? Вот там дверь открыта или что? 170.
Рядом.
Вау. Где он, сука? Блядь, иди нахуй. Пошел нахуй, пидор ебаный. Нахуй я все выпустил. Пизду я ебал. Короче, заходи в пабг, это охуенная игра. Самая лучшая в мире, блядь. Да не, да это просто первая катка еще сегодня, что ты, блядь? Не гони. Сейчас приду за кружечкой схожу, пивасика себе налил. Что, надо было бой нажать. Короче, смотри, нет, вот сейчас я выберу каракин. Вот там повеселее будет, там нормальная движуха. Ну, потому что карта сама по себе маленькая. На Эренгеле или на Мирамаре там нужно, короче, играть на наш, на это. Блять. Ну, с чуваками, ну, с друзьями, короче, чтобы было прикольнее, интереснее. А так, с рандомными челиками не очень. Кстати, слышишь, это... Если что, у меня папа пиво сварил. Можешь, это, прийти к нему позвонить. Он вроде недавно... Я не помню, когда он мне говорил. Ну, недавно совсем. О! Здорово, пацаны!
Здорово.
Че, всех разъебем?
Конечно.
Мы же, блядь, киберспортсмены, и... Да, он мне, кстати, ну вот, он недавно мне звонил, мы с ним разговаривали, он сказал, то, что типа сварил недавно. Так что, если хочешь, иди и покупай. Только ценник не знаю. Че, в город?
Конечно.
Может, в Алхабар улетим? Подальше.
Можно.
Там потом от края зоны сыграем.
Если что, зеленый играть не умеет, я с ним в дискорде.
А я вообще не играть не умею. Все, погнали. Качай давай пубг. Поиграем хоть.
Там никого я не вижу.
Это так кажется, назад посмотри. Нихуя с нами народу. Я не знаю.
Да не-не-не, они не долетают. Вы дальше летите, блядь. Не, нормально, нормально, дальше летим. Они сейчас вон тут это, даже не долетают до города. Я-то в свое любимое место, проверенное. Вот как раз от края зоны сыграем здесь. В свой любимый домик, где постоянно дохуя лута. Много бустов, бустов, бустов. Собираем все нахуй. Так, скорее всего, я тут потрошки возьму. Ебать бустов. Нахуй выкидываю. А ты ебан. Давай пошли быстрее нахуй портфель искать. Уже война пошла, блядь. Калаш нахуй не нужен. О, портфель. Все. О, М-ку возьмем. Пока что на время. Угу. Вот эту пушку я. Все. Заменю ее. Это вообще пиздата пукалка. Отдачи 0 нахуй вообще просто. Она просто разрывает. На М-ке рукоятку сделаем. Отдачи вообще 0. Просто вообще ебашь нормально. Все вообще полностью залутано практически. Все, блядь. Только на динамитик бы найти. Пламя-гаситель. А, тут, кстати, еще бомба С4 появилась. Не которая вот эта вот на каракине, блядь, это идет. А еще одна. Она, короче, дома взрывает. На любой карте может попасться. Это вот бомба-липучка, не бомба-липучка, а там С4 идет. Все, пошли там, взорвем. Че, наши-то хоть живы? Да, все нормально. Все, я полностью хату эту залутал. Блядь. Бля, я вообще все, я весь. Все ебало в бустах у меня. Все, можно воевать идти. А, у меня каски нету. Воин, блядь, хуев.
Если кто-нибудь найдет компенсатор на ППшку, оставьте мне.
Компенсатор на ПП. Угу. Все, в принципе. Погнали! Зона, зона, зона. Сейчас в зону съебемся. Это забираем. Нет, вот это сюда надо ставить. Ой.
Люди на 215.
Это тёлка или
Войди.
пацан разговаривает? 215. Ебан. Бля, чё, снопы нету, что ли?
О, вон. А, это вот, сейчас.
Как я ни разу не попал. Прям в него стрелял.
Угу. А бинты можно нахуй выкинуть. Бля, сейчас бы это найти.
Там какое-то месиво немецкий.
Где?
Там, блядь, прям там челы были рядом с этим зданием.
Пошли дальше на горе отойдем. Бля, зеленый этот заебал бегать как долбоеб.
Тут миник есть.
Дайте заберу.
Нужен? Вот тот. В этом доме.
Там попал по чуваку 2 раза. Забежал. За холм.
Вон на 300 бежит где сзади забор.
Там 2 чувака.
Треть обходим их слева. Вон он.
Другие чуваки.
Пиздюки сейчас. Не, ну
Они
конечно.
испугались.
Они обойдут сейчас. Короче, давайте здесь пока посидим. Потому что могут сзади еще пойти.
Они убежали, наверное, я их не вижу. О, у меня тут!
Ок. Тут целый склад. Одного нокну.
Я хилюсь.
Я захилюсь, пока вы их убейте. Давайте.
Все, ластового убил.
Да бомжи, блядь, ебаные, нихуя это даже. Ой, X3 забираю.
Вот тут еще один труп мы не залутали. Вот
есть.
челик. Это бот.
Ботяра
Ой,
убил.
еще один бот.
Где вы, блядь, их увидели-то? Бля, так пока никого не видно, что где все-то. На 300 за горами. Бля, сейчас козел этот меня будут.
И про горы, которые прям перед нами.
Нет, нет, вон на 300. Тут вот за камнями, за горами. Это те челики, которые в здании бежали. Вон они, вон они. Тут. Он бегает.
А, вижу. Че, пушим их? Первые два окна подтягивай.
Это рожи. Идемте быстрее.
Что там левый, ну бля.
Второй, иди помоги нам. Ползи, ползи.
Ну таки не понял, где он.
Ты хилти сейчас. Это сзади, сзади.
Да бля, хуй плет ебаный.
Четвертый, быстрее отойди. Ну.
Да, паника, паника. Ну так хорошо все начиналось. Да ебаный меня бесит, когда просто, блядь, теряет контроль, блядь, над ситуацией. Качает ебучий папка, давай, погнали. Что случилось? Что, опять караки? Мне похуй, я как обычно на всю крышу лечу. Опять команда уебанов. Я прям чувствую, что они уебаны все. Опять, блядь. Еще раз мне эта хуйня. Кто, блядь, ты где вообще?
Че есть на самом? Первый, второй.
А, блядь, дайте костюм. О, веселая пушечка. Где у вас тут перестрелочки?
Че есть там? Ребята, сколько этих патронов-то может быть? О, это еще повеселее штучка. Ну все, можете в бой нахуй. Какой-то разъебать. На 175 у дороги стрел.
Бот, наверное.
Да бот кто еще? Через гору надо.
Мелко поставил. Первая зона, пошли, пошли.
Давайте сюда вон.
На 255 вижу, метку поставил. Не ставится.
Откуда стреляли?
255 где там, накрою. Двое там.
Живой, блядь.
Мертвый.
Да вижу его.
Зона пошла.
Блять, короче, мне пизда, у меня аптечек нет.
Я тебя скину.
Там чуваки
Вижу.
сверху надо мной на N.
Я вижу.
Ты-ды-ды-дын. Когда, блядь, нормальные тиммейты попадутся? Здорово.
Привет.
Куда прыгнем?
Даже не знаю. На Сосновке там сейчас людей будет. Просто жопа.
Может сюда?
Надо репно. Да, можно. Я не пойму, он четвертый, что-то отчаянный парень.
Так, кого он чужаков видит?
Не, с нами никого нету.
Ну, отлично. Иди нахуй, врезался, блядь, он. Короче, я в рот ебал этот бизон. Там и весь скар полностью заряженный. Бензинчика возьму, мало ли. Блять, как же он прыгает по-уебански, заебал. Каску бы, блядь, найти. А ты перелетишь, друг мой? Угу. Нахуй выкинуть можно. Ну, мутантика можно взять. Вот это уже повеселее. Зону бы.
Надо сваливать уже, ну.
Коряк. Ну все тут. ГВП.
X3 кому-то нужен?
Не-не, я там
Не,
X4
не
отметил
надо.
на контейнерах еще. Кто-нибудь видал каску, блядь, второго хотя бы?
Я там только нашел все.
Что, давайте ближе к дороге двинем.
Там дача стоит рядом
Вот,
с домами.
вот вторая каска. Отметил.
Ну сейчас добегу. Так, тут чуть недалеко где-то кто-то, блядь, ебашится. Ты заебешь, где вторая каска?
Может лодку глянем, сразу на лодке помчим.
Давай посмотрим. А, да, тут лодка стоит, ёп.
Потому что мост уже может закрытый быть.
Ну чё, бля, морские котики, поплыли.
что, прям там, что ли?
Че, пацан, залезть не можете?
Ну да.
Вон тут вон здесь залазьте, где я залазил. Там можно зацепиться. Блять, надо тачку теперь опять искать. Здесь были уже, так что нехуй тут лутать, бегать. Все залутано. Пойдемте к дороге, тачку найдем. А кто-то фаерган видит, где залетел?
4-й, бери правее, когда прыгаешь, вправо чуть нажми.
Да, я пытаюсь, блин.
Баги вижу, есть.
Вот С4. Третий есть бусты?
Да, есть, держи. Мало, конечно, но хотя бы один буллет.
Нормально, нормально.
Машина едет, что?
Да, вижу, вижу.
Еще одна. Дальше там... Рядом еще.
Там очелики прямо, куда вы едете. В домах там где-то бегают. А, зона, зона, зона.
По мне стреляли где-то с руинок.
Козлы ебаные.
На трупе он.
Тачка едет. Тачка едет.
Ну, проехала.
Так, еще.
Красава.
Крысил здесь на руинах, мы его даже не заметили, как приехали.
Ох, нихуя, кто-то по мне пиздяшит.
245. Двое минимум.
Бля, у меня аптек-то вообще нихуя нету.
Здесь есть.
Сейчас забегу, маленько замотаюсь. Бусты есть?
Есть, я тебе подкину потом. Скинул поболька один энергетик.
Сейчас бежим.
Пошли пешком. Вон они бегут 255. Сука.
А, на нахуй.